Josh Muller here from Life's Rabbit Hole, and this is your companion video for lesson number 5 from the ebook Millionaire Mentors and the Lessons They've Taught Me. This lesson is going to focus around the concept of how our thoughts actually affect the results that we get in life. And really based around Earl Nightingale's quote, "We get what we think about most of the time." And I want to unpackage for you here 2 ways that this has really helped impact me in my life. One is through the quality of the questions that we ask ourselves, and the other is through learning how to reframe our thoughts so that they actually serve the purpose that we're working towards. Let's start with quality questions. See, when you think about it, we all ask ourselves hundreds if not thousands of questions a day. And the interesting thing is that we ask ourselves lots of questions throughout the day that we never even answer with our conscious mind. When you think about it, for example, you could think about, how many times have you ever tried to think of the name of an actor or the name of a movie, and you can't quite think about it, you can't find the answer to it, so you just kind of let it go and forget about it, and then hours later, all of a sudden the name of that movie pops into your head. Well, the reason that that happens is because it's actually been proven that whatever questions we ask ourselves, whether we answer them live or not, in the moment or not, our brain, actually our subconscious brain, continues to work on finding the answers to those questions. That's why you can recall out of nowhere the name of that movie, even though you may have forgotten about that question hours before. So, and there's questions that we ask ourselves throughout the day all of the time. 2 different types of questions is what I found. The main 2 types are empowering questions, which are questions that actually empower us towards results that we're looking to achieve, or disempowering questions, which I've found are typically questions that focus on the past and asking why we're not necessarily getting the results that we're looking for, or why life is, not necessarily treating us the way that we expect to be treated, or treating us fairly. So just to be sure that this concept is completely clear, let's walk through some examples of different types of questions and how the same question could be empowering versus disempowering. So for example, you may be asking yourself, why do I always get bad grades? That's a disempowering question. A more empowering way of asking that question would be more along the lines of saying, how could I do a better job with my grades? Or you could be asking yourself, why am I not getting so many sales? And that's a disempowering question. An empowering way of asking that question is, what could I be doing differently to increase the number of sales I'm getting? Another disempowering question would be something along the lines of, why am I always fighting with my parents? Or why am I always fighting with my spouse? That's a disempowering question. A more empowering way of asking that question is, how could I be doing a better job communicating with my spouse? Or how could I be expressing what I want to express in a much more productive way? So questions are the first part of this concept. Now I want to talk about the second part of this concept, which is, how do you take the thoughts once you recognize that you're having them? How do you take the questions once you recognize that you're asking them and reframe them to something that's a little bit more positive? Because I work with a lot of people on this concept, and the biggest challenge that most people have is they say, yes, I understand that I have negative questions that I ask myself, or disempowering questions I ask myself, and I understand that I have negative thoughts, or thoughts that aren't necessarily serving the long-term purpose that I'm trying to achieve. But how do I actually go about changing them? Or how do I go about doing this? The concept of reframing is not necessarily something that came easy to me at first, but since I've practiced it for a very long time now, it's something that happens almost automatically, and I'm so grateful for it, because it basically puts me in a position where anytime I notice I'm asking a disempowering question or having negative thoughts, I'm reframing that question or reframing those thoughts into something that serves what I'm working towards for the future. And this is where it really helps out the most. So how do you reframe your thoughts? While you're new at this, here's a couple things that can help you when you're trying to actually reframe the questions that you're asking or the thoughts that you have. So I want you to write down 2 lists. First, write down a list of accomplishments that you're proud of. And next, Write down a list of memories that you have that are fun or exciting or just take you back to a place where you feel really good. So when you're new at this concept is really easy to implement into your lifestyle. Just 2 simple steps. The first step is recognizing when you're having when you're asking disempowering questions or you're having negative thoughts. Then the second step is pull out your list, which you have on you at all times, and read through that list, because it will help you get back into a more empowering or more positive state. And then just ask yourself, what's a better way that I can ask that question? Or what's a better thought I can use to replace that negative thought that I'm having? So as a quick example, if you're ever in a place where you're experiencing self-doubt, best thing to do, just pull out that list of accomplishments and remind yourself of what you're actually capable of. So if the only thing that you get from reading this chapter or watching this video is simply how important it is to be mindful of the thoughts that you're having and whether those thoughts are actually serving your purpose in the future that you want to create, or they're stuck in the past and the negative associations that you have with your past, then just having that awareness can make a huge difference in you achieving and getting more of what you want in life, because what we focus on most of the time is what we'll get most of the time. So if you haven't already, read the chapter that goes along with this video and answer the questions at the end of it. Then send us any comments or feedback or questions that you have simply by clicking contact in the top right corner of our website, lifesrabbithole.com. We'd really love to hear from you. And not long from now, you should receive an email with the next lesson in the series, which is actually focused on building wealth. And in that lesson, Amy's actually going to be sharing with you how she went from growing up in a trailer park, poverty-stricken, and with basically nothing to her name, to actually being in the top 1% of income earners in the United States. And that's definitely a lesson worth checking out. So thanks for your time and for letting us here at Life's Rabbit Hole join you on your path through the doorway to a new world.